Support for today's episode comes from Dame Products, a sexual wellness brand with the goal of closing the pleasure gap for people with vulvas. And, you know, I personally love the versatility of the products. Whether you're going to use it for solo play, partner play, if it says it's a G-spot vibrator, or you can use it on your clit, on your nipples, on your neck. It's so many options. And as a Boonie Breakdown listener, you can receive 10% off your purchase by using the code Boonie10, all caps. That's Boonie10. Details on how to purchase can be found in the show notes and on thebooниebreakdown.com. Hey y'all, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to the Boonie Breakdown podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. All right, welcome to episode 209 of the Boonie Breakdown podcast. We're back this week. I want to thank you for obliging me, for letting me take time to vacate, to soak in some sun, to be ratchet, to have a good time in Houston with my friends. But we're back this week with a great episode. Our guest this week is Majestyyy, the Funsexual. You probably heard of her. You've seen her on some other podcasts. I just love her spirit and her energy. She is not a sex educator, but she is a sex enthusiast, and she likes creating safe spaces for people navigating the world of sexuality. Look, you're probably already saying, what the fuck is a funsexual? But we get to that. We talk about that. We talk about her current sexual fantasies. We end up having an amazing conversation around consent and power. We talk about group sex, the perfect dick, some of the things that she's into. This was really, I just think you just got to listen to the conversation. There's no way to describe it. If you're not familiar with Majestyyy, I think after you listen to this and you're someone who's been curious about play parties and exploring your sexuality deeper, this is someone you're going to connect with and you're going to want to follow her. So stick around for that conversation. All right, we're going to hop right into my pick of the week. This week, my pick of the week is Rothaniel. If you just heard me say that, and you're probably like, what the fuck is Rothaniel? Rothaniel is the latest comedy special from Gerard Carmichael. Now, I hate that the media spoils things, so I am not going to spoil it, but what I am going to say to you is that you should watch it. I know it says it's a comedy special, and yes, you laugh, but to me, it came off more as a therapy session, a healing. It's just really funny from the way it was shot to his interactions with the audience to what he was trying to get off his chest. Brilliant. Just absolutely fucking brilliant. For me, the storytelling aspect was top notch. Like, to be able to be a storyteller like that, to get people to connect emotionally with you, to kind of have the audience calling you on some bullshit, to also then having them laugh. I think his comedic timing that's one of the things I like about him. So I'm also kind of curious, and I saw this conversation happening on Twitter, that now with this revelation that he drops in this, how people are going to receive him who may not have known his comedy otherwise. So for people who were now calling out Dave Chappelle for bullshit, I think sometimes Gerard Carmichael, to the standard that people are viewing that on, is worse than Dave Chappelle. So this will be interesting to see this. I think this is pushing him into the next stratosphere of celebrity, if that makes sense. But I've been a fan of his for a long time. Just a few months ago, I just rewatched all of the Carmichael Show. If you have never watched it, it's on Hulu. Go check it out. I think it's 3 seasons because he quit the show because it was something over the N-word. I can't remember all of the details, but they walked away from the show. But that show is fucking funny with David Alan Grier. I think Tiffany Haddish is in it. Little Rel, Everybody's Mama, Loretta Devine. Excellent show. Go watch it, but watch it after you watch Rothaniel. And then you'll find that you'll be like, ew, Rothaniel. But he explains all that in the special. So check it out. It's on HBO Max.
Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping?
Not now.
All right, we have a lot of housekeeping. So first we need to do some feedback. I do want to point out last week I did a podcast episode swap. So I know I could see from the downloads that not a lot of you went and listened to it. But well, not me not say that. A lot of you listened, but not my normal weekly listen. And so I get it. My podcast, you want to hear my voice or me interacting with guests. But I did this podcast swap because it was amazing to see the vulnerability of 2 Black men or 3 Black men. At one point, someone in the background was chiming in. I think it was nice to see them emote, to highlight when they're not well, when they need help, how they're afraid to speak out. It was an excellent episode. So if you want to listen to something else this week, you get bored, please go back and check out that bonus episode. I got some feedback from LaCasia, and she said, "Greetings. This episode was everything. I really enjoyed the openness and vulnerability of these men. I shared this podcast to every male I know. I am now a fan." And so I'm not saying you're going to be a fan of what you listen to, but I do hope that you guys go back and check out the bonus episode, Infinite Grace, with Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast. Also, we got to flip it all the way back to 2 weeks ago for episode 208 that we had with Jennifer Eden. I got some really amazing feedback about this episode with Jennifer. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. I just recently got this message and said, "I finished the Jennifer Eden episode and I fell in love with your podcast. It's funny, it's informative, and it talks about sex in a way that someone who is curious but possibly uncomfortable can navigate in a safe way with their questions answered. It was just everything. So happy to have found it. And you for sure gained a supporter in me." So thank you, Rocky, for that amazing message. And again, if you have not checked out those 2 episodes, I encourage you to go back and do so. Also, because last week I did not do an episode with my voice on the regular platform, Patreon gang got a bonus episode. They got a recap of my thoughts of Houston, my trip to Houston. And so if you want to, you could have listened. You could have heard my voice last week if you had just joined for as low as $3. You can head on over to patreon.com/the Boonie Breakdown. Also in that episode, Patreon gang knows the dates and locations of the first 2 Boonie shows. They have it. They're going to have it. They're going to get first crack at these tickets in a couple of weeks. Hopefully in 2 weeks, they'll be getting first crack at those tickets. And so if you want to be in the know, you want to secure all that shit, then you head on over to patreon.com/Boonie Breakdown and you can get that. Also, if this is your first time listening, welcome. You can follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram at The Boonie Breakdown, on Twitter just at Boonie Breakdown. When you share this episode, tag it, put us in your Insta story. You could tag us on Twitter. You can tag us on Facebook. We love it. Put it in your group chat. Drop it in a Discord that you're in for another podcast group. I don't give a fuck. But please just share this episode because that's how we increase and grow. All right. And so that is it for me. I'm going to shut the fuck up now and let's get ready to break it down. Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and I'm always excited when I have people who are so interesting and amazing on the podcast. And so I want to welcome Majestyyy to the Boonie Breakdown.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm amazing. Today was actually a really good day. I feel good. I'm excited to be here. I'm ready.
I love when we have good days. Look, I try not to complain. Today, as we're recording this, it has been a day. I am a little tired, but the energy is coming as soon as I hit record.
Let's go on.
Let's go. So first, for people who are not familiar with you, that this is their first time interacting with you, how do you describe yourself? What do you identify as?
I am Majestyyy. I am the play party princess, the wholesome hoe, a fistful of fun, the sexy sweetheart, and the cultivator of good vibes.
Cultivator of good vibes. I like that. I wanted to have a conversation with you because I feel like the theme of my podcast season this season has been more so strong Black women who are exploring their own sexuality, who are figuring out what they like, what they don't like, and taking I'm going to say the path less traveled, right? I think a lot of women are intrigued by some of the things that I've had guests on here about. And, they want to dip their toe over there, but they might be scared. So I'm going to start right out.
Y'all ain't got to be scared. It's fun over here.
Look, I first heard about Majestyyy on the Hard or Soft podcast. And Orlando has been on my podcast. I'm still trying to get Tahoe's ass. But they're so great. I love the podcast, especially from the guys' perspective. What they're doing is amazing. But when I heard you on there, I'm like, you know what? She's fun. Follow. And so the word funsexual works. So when you're saying funsexual, are you saying because sex is fun, I'm going to do it all?
It came from, so the funsexual term came from, I was signing up for a dating website. And on that dating website, they had an option, like a drop down box for your like sexual orientation and stuff. And I was like, well, I know that I'm not straight, but I'm not a lesbian, but I know that I'm not like bisexual. I was like, maybe I'm pansexual. So I was kind of like going through these different options, and I saw like queer, and I was like, what actually does queer actually mean? Which I realized that queer is actually just like a big umbrella term. And I was like, I really don't know how to identify. And then I didn't want to check one of these boxes and feel like if I check this box, then I have to do everything that's under that umbrella. So I was just like, I feel like I'm just like funsexual. If it's fun and it's something that I think I'm going to enjoy doing, then I'm going to enjoy doing it. If it's something that's actually sexual, if it's a relationship, if it's a situation and I think that I could enjoy it and I think that I want to try it and I think that I could have fun doing it, I'm gonna do it, regardless as to who that person is or how they identify. So that was kind of where it came from.
I like that because it works. It matches your personality.
Yeah.
It seems to match your creed. I'm also intrigued because following Orlando, following you guys did a play party. And I talked about this in episode 207 a couple weeks ago by the time this airs with the dope ass unicorn. And she was talking about her sexual discovery. And I'm just like, right? Like, yes, sis, you are living. Mm-hmm. And I think so many people want to go to play parties. They want to go to sex parties, but they're scared. So what one tip would you tell a first timer who is on the fence? Because they want to go, they want to have some of the fun too, but they're nervous.
So this is the first tip that I always give to people who want to come to play party, especially for the first time, is you do not have to do anything that you do not want to do. Any good play party, before play actually starts, they're going to have a consent conversation, a consent speech where they kind of lay out what the meaning of consent. And anybody in this space, in the kink spaces and BDSM spaces, will understand this term consent. People who are in vanilla spaces, generally, we don't talk about it so much, and we really should. But the idea of the term consent is that you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You don't have to do anything with anybody that you don't want to do. No one can touch you. No one can hug you. No one can kiss you. No one can do anything to you without your enthusiastic consent. So that is my first, bit or piece to anybody, that nothing can happen in a space where people know what they're doing, at a play party that is run the way it is supposed to be run, because there are some that are not quite run the way they're supposed to. But at a party that's run the way it is supposed to be run, everybody has the understanding, everybody has the knowledge to know that nothing can happen to you without permission, and you cannot do anything to anybody else without permission. So it's not like you're going to run in there and then you're just thrown to the wolves and anybody's just going to eat at you. Nothing happens without your permission. And guess what? If you hate it, if you go and you decide, oh my God, this is fucking terrible. Can I curse?
Yeah. Oh, shit. Yes.
Okay. If you go and decide like, this is fucking terrible, I hate it, and I don't want to be here anymore, you can leave. Nobody's going to chain you to a wall. You don't have to stay. You can leave.
No, it's something you just said about consent. I do wish that in vanilla activities, heterosexual activities, consent was more of a discussion. I think it has become this daunting fucking task when it really could be, can I put my mouth on your dick? Like, that is consent too. It doesn't have to be, I have an affidavit. Can you fucking, It's not
we're
that.
not used to that. We're not used to that. And we live in a very patriarchal society where men are pretty much given free reign to do anything they want to do without consequences. So yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for men to now be in a space where if I want to hug you, if I want to grope you, if I want to touch you on your shoulder or something like that, I have to get your permission. It's for some people that's hard because they've in their 20, 30, 40 years of existence, they've never had to do that.
They've never had to do it.
We weren't taught consent in our regular vanilla sex lives. We weren't taught consent. I didn't even understand what it was when I first came into the kink lifestyle and the swinger communities. Somebody had to like break that down for me. And so I like to do that for people who I know are new to the community. I usually sit people down, the newbies at the party, and just have a conversation because if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to be that person and I'm going to have that conversation.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing how foreign of a concept that is, but how crucial of a necessity it is.
And how basic it is. It's basic.
It's basic as fuck. And I think too, you just mentioned too about how men sometimes don't grasp, like they can't understand why that needs to happen. And I think too, as women, I was explaining to someone recently when we were talking about consent, and I was like, I'm pretty sure if you have, and this may be a trigger warning for some people, if you've never been like assaulted or raped or anything, you've definitely been in a situation where you had to compromise anything you were willing to do just to get out of there safely. And I had to explain to them, like, yes, I've been in a room with some big ass niggas and was like, you know what? I'm not getting raped. Yeah, so I got to compromise on something I'm willing to do to get the fuck out of here safe. And men can't conceptualize that because they don't have that same fear or danger sometimes. So
they can't conceptualize a lot of things because they're usually the one in a position of power. They're not usually the person that has to be submissive and subservient in a situation. They're not usually the person being dominated in just regular situations. They're usually the dominant person. So they don't know what it's like when you're trying to get out of a room and a man is standing in front of the doorway blocking you, so you literally can't get out, even though it's playful and he's joking.
Yeah, we're joking. Like I didn't mean it. She wanted it. Like, so that is a very, women get it. We understand it because most of us can relate and pinpoint a situation. I also think the other part of it too is even if a man hasn't been in that situation where they've been the aggressor, they might have some line where it's blurred, it's a little gray. And so now hearing these experiences, they start questioning like, well, fuck, you know.
I'm in a position where I made somebody feel like,
yeah, like, am I
talking? Likely have.
You have.
No one's yelling at you for it, but acknowledge your privilege in this situation. As a man, acknowledge your privilege in those situations. And then take it a step further, grow from it, learn from it, and don't put other women in those positions, and educate other men on the things that they're doing and those behaviors that they're doing that are making women feel uncomfortable. I don't know. But
especially the part about educating your friend, educating your brother, whatever. That part is crucial and critical. I did not even plan to talk about consent. I'm glad it came up for a refresher and a fucking reminder because we have a whole episode on it with Vanessa of Majestyyy. All right.
Topic.
It is funny because I will say it has been in recent years. This is the most, as even in my 37 years on earth, I've ever talked about consent. Ever. And I wish somebody had talked to motherfuckers while I was in college. All right. So we're back to the play parties. I've seen the flyers, you know. The tickets are sold couple, single lady, single men. So like me, if I have a curiosity, I want to go. What is a tip you would tell me as a single woman navigating a play party?
For a single woman navigating a play party, I was just having this conversation last night with some friends. Go with an open mind. Definitely go with an open mind. I know for me, my very first play party, when I started exploring play parties, I started going as a solo. I started going by myself. Some people, are uncomfortable. They want to bring a friend. They want to bring a partner. They want to meet somebody there or whatever. I started going to parties as a solo, and that's how I rocked for my first 3 years in the lifestyle. I was always rocking solo. But I went there with an open mind. I definitely went there with an open mind. I went there with going and saying, like, I want to experience something that I've never tried before. And so that was really my goal through the night, was to experience something I never tried before. And so I always had a good time. I can't, in my first parties, I can't pinpoint too many bad parties or bad experiences that I had when I first got into the lifestyle, especially amongst the group of people that I was in the DMV area.
Come on.
DMV, the DMV Black Kinksters are lit.
Really? Because I'm in Baltimore. Okay. Because
the DMV is lit. Let me tell you, the DMV, okay. The DMV, that's where I came into the lifestyle. I lived in Virginia for a little while. Okay. And that's where I came into the lifestyle. And there are a lot of Black Kinksters out there.
Okay, because that's the thing. I know the time I had ventured at least to a sex club.
Which was the Baltimore Playhouse?
Not that one, Taboo. It was and somebody was like, you went on the wrong night. It was very white, very ugly, it's not, I'm not aroused. Yeah. I am not aroused in here right now. And so that wasn't still even an experience, because the person that I went with, I didn't go single. I went with a partner. The person I went with was more so on the more conservative side, definitely vanilla. And so I was even proud of them for even going. I'm laughing at your emotions because that ended up being
the case. Get out. You don't want to be here. Get out.
Yeah, we're not together anymore. And so I was even proud that he was even willing to do that, because I was like, for real, you'll go? So when we got in there, it was just like, oh, I am not aroused.
You definitely you want to pick the niggas nights to go. I mean, that's where I go to parties with Black people. I host parties because I want to see more sexy Black people in my sexy spaces. So
if you're a couple going for the first time, would you tweak your advice, or would you give the same advice?
For a couple going on the first time, I would say allow the woman, if you guys want to pull another woman into your play, even if you want to pull another man into your play, let the female of the couple, if it's a heterosexual couple, a man and a woman, let the female initiate the outreach to that person. If you see somebody that y'all want to play with, that y'all have some type of interest in, for me, coming into a situation, this is going to sound almost a little bit conceited, but coming into a situation where I'm playing with a couple, I'm sure that the man wants to play with me. So that sounds really bad. And that's really not the case, but I'm more confident that the man is going to want to play with me than the woman is going to want to play with me. Let me say it that way. So I like to be approached by the woman, so I know that she has some buy-in in this, because if we're going to play, we're gonna have a threesome, or there's gonna be a cuckolding situation or something like that, it's not gonna ever be fun. A threesome is never gonna be fun. With two women, a threesome will never be fun if the two women don't play. So I like to be approached by the woman. It just gives me a sense of a little bit more comfort. When I'm approached by the man, it's usually, if a man approaches me, then I am still going to go back to the woman and be like, hey, like, are you okay with this? Like, we want to play, So I prefer that the woman reaches out. It just makes me a little bit more comfortable in those couple situation and unicorning situations.
Makes sense. You just said you were a curator of good vibes.
Curator of good vibes, the cultivator of good vibes.
Cultivator. So as you're cultivating good vibes and you're planning your play part, like what kind of experience are you trying to put together for Black folk to have fun and be freaky?
So with I did 2 parties with 2 events with Hard or Soft. And the thing that I was looking for the play party, it was a little different. I was looking for people for that play party who had experience for that play party, people who really who wanted to have fun. People who just wanted to have fun. But usually what I'm looking for is some level of experience, or at least, but at a base level, some understanding of consent to me is like the most important thing. Even if you don't have experience, but you have an understanding of consent, even if you don't know what the word is necessarily, but you understand that you can't touch nobody and you can't do nothing to nobody without their permission. If you have an understanding and you are passionate about that, then you can come to pretty much anything that I decide to host and anything that I decide to do, because that is like the foundation that kink and BDSM is built on. That foundation is consent. Nothing happens, nothing works without that.
So is it just like I go on Eventbrite and buy a ticket, or you like a little application and you vet?
So we did for the play party in December, we did it was a series of questions that you had to fill out. And if you answer the questions and everything was appropriate, we sent you a link to buy your ticket. For the weekend playcation, we did a weekend retreat last month. And for that one, we interviewed people. We did video interviews with people.
So was that your story where you blacked out?
That was New Year's. That was at a
okay. Yo, I've been following. Like, oh shit.
That was at an after party.
The after party was lit like that. Okay.
The after party, when you know where to go for the after parties, when you got the right people together, it was probably like less than 20 people, maybe like 15 people. That after party was better than some of the regular parties. It was fun. That was great.
So what do you wear? So like, are you walking in just in regular clothes? Or are you trying to come in and dress to impress? You got a little teddy on with some jeans? Like what we doing?
I personally suggest I like to wear like my lingerie either under my clothes or like as a part of my clothes, because depending on where you're going, you don't know what the situation is going to be when you want to change. You don't know how many bathrooms there is, if there's a change in space, and you don't want to be bringing a whole bunch of clothes and outfit changes. It's too much. So I personally I'll usually wear, if I'm wearing like a one-piece situation, I'll do that with like a skirt or some shorts or some pants. So I could just take off my pants, my skirt, whatever, and be ready to go. That's how I do it. Then bringing a robe is also a good idea, because a lot of times after you take off after you start playing or take off your clothes, sometimes you don't want to put your clothes back on, or maybe somebody ripped it on. Maybe you lost your panties. I can't tell you how many pairs of panties I've lost. Panties, I have lost pieces of my lingerie, but the secret to that, boom, when you take off your panties, what you do instead of throwing them to the side, you take them and you use them as a scrunchie for your hair because you're about to suck.
Yeah, I like the ingenuity. I love it.
One of my friends put me onto that because I was like, yo, I lose panties every time I come here. She was like, girl, you're supposed to put them in your hair like a scrunchie. I was like, bitch.
That's a pro right there. That is a pro tip right there.
But that's what, you can wear whatever you want, but you want to wear something sexy. You want to add to the vibe. If it's a themed party, some parties are themed. If it's a themed party, you want to, dress with the theme. It's just fun to do that. How often do we get a chance as adults to dress up in a costume or the color theme? Just, indulge in that kind of stuff just because it's fun.
I think I shared the first time, and I don't think we ever had intention of actually going. This is like my best friend and I, we're so goofy and dorky. This is a gazillion years ago. We heard about the sex club. We're like, oh my God, it's Halloween. We saw the flyer for the Halloween party. So we're like, oh, let's go. So we did not go, but we went and sat in the parking lot and we just watched everyone go in.
Oh, that had to be fun.
And it was hilarious. We were sitting there, eating our food, watching, dang, look at Papa Smurf and Mama Smurf. But I was like, damn, had we thought about it, that probably would have been a great night to go because everyone was in fucking costume, right? So many people had masks on. You couldn't tell who the people really were. So I was like, damn, that's probably a really great night to go in there. But we had such a fucking bomb ass time just watching the people in costume go inside. So yeah, so it was just I just think that was a missed opportunity in hindsight that we should have just went in there and gone in there and knocked it out the park the first time. But it was
opportunity arises to go to a Halloween sex party again. I bet you go and jump at it.
I would, because I'm like, that would be the perfect time if you're somebody who's scared, who am I going to see there? I don't want someone to know me. Go to a Halloween themed one. And there you go. Problem solved.
Right. If you go, I've gone to parties and just danced and drank and just had a good time and just had conversations with people.
That was my next question. What if you were a voyeur and you just like to watch people? Is that acceptable too? Or are you
acceptable? That is definitely acceptable.
Okay.
Because as a voyeur, on the other side of that is the exhibitionist. And the exhibitionist, I am an exhibitionist. I'm also a voyeur. I got called out when my friends were like, you ain't even really a voyeur. I'm like, she was like, you can watch it for 2 seconds and you be trying to jump in. I'm a voyeur and I'm also an exhibitionist. And I enjoy people watching, as an exhibitionist. I love to have eyes on me. I love to have people people watching me. So you are also adding to their experience. Now, there are ways to do that and do it appropriately. Like, you don't want to be like up on somebody up in the space. Like, you want to watch from a distance. Don't watch all creepily. Don't be trying to like pull your phone out and take pictures and stuff like that. Like, you want to watch and feed that part of them, but do it from a comfortable distance, and don't be a creep. That's the only thing. Don't be a creep.
Don't be creepy. Yeah. Cause that's the part I think if you feel like you're being a creep, you probably are. So do something else. I don't know. But
watch from a distance. Watch from the couch across the room, you know, or just watch from a distance where you're not all invading their space.
Love it. Now, I do want to circle back though, because I feel like everybody needs to hear this after party story, because I got a little turned on. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, dang, I want to black out during sex and like wake up and be like, who was that? So you guys set the scene, tell the story, because I done mentioned it.
This was technically, at this point, it was January 1st. I was out with a friend, and we had gone to a vanilla event. We had a really, really good night. We were in New York, in Manhattan. We had a really good night. Boom, that party. Great, drank, chill, hung out with the white people. Cool. Left that party, went to a play party. He didn't play at that play party. He was like talking and networking or whatever, doing whatever he was doing. I ended up getting involved in a really nice impact scene. I had some friends there. I actually even ran into my cousin was at this party with her.
Okay, cousin.
What was going on? But all right, here we go. Had a great time at that party, left that party. I was like, all right, now we're going to go to the after hour spot, because there was another party that was finishing up. It was like 3-4 in the morning. There's another party that was finishing up. It's at my friend's place. I usually spend a night at their place. So I was like, we're just going to go there. So we go there. The party that was there is winding down. People are starting to leave, but the cool kids, you know, are staying and, you know, getting ready for the after party and for whatever that night is going to be. So the DJ's done spinning. He put on his playlist. Now this playlist, the late night playlist, the like after 3 a.m. playlist, it got all the sexy vibes on it. It got songs that I know and recognize, and I like that shit. I love it. So we are playing. We are having sex. The young man that I came with is having sex with one of my friends. This is the first time they are meeting for the first time. She's like, yo, can I? And I was like, please have some. It's great. We're enjoying it. We're having sex. It was great. At some point, him and I get back to it, and we're having sex, and it's good. And my face is like, we're on the bed, we're on the mattress. All the mattresses are like on the floor. We're on the mattress, and I'm like facing the wall, and he's fucking me from behind. So I'm like laying on my stomach.
Got it.
That's my favorite position. I love that shit. So I like to be choked. I like to be bit. I like to be slapped.
I'm with you on the biting. Yes.
Oh my God. I love being bit. All that, but that I don't want to say the weeks leading up to that, him and I had been doing a lot more breath play, him choking me. So we're doing that. Boom. And so the way he's got me, he has his arm like around my neck like this because of the position that we're in. So he's choking me, and when it gets to be too much, I'll usually like tap and then he'll let it go. That was our thing. That was our safe word that we were establishing. So we did that probably like 3 times. He choked me and get to a point where I'm like, all right, I'll tap. He let go. He do it again. He choked me. I tap. He let go. This last time, he choked me, right? And then I remember like waking up, like coming back to when you get choked out, you don't realize that you get choked out until you wake back up. It's like you just black out. You don't feel it black out, but you know that you've blacked out once you come back. So I realized that I had blacked out because I came back, and I'm looking and I'm like, what am I looking at? It's this wall that has like this leaf thing on it. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? What is that? And then I recognized the wall because I've been here a lot of times. I was like, oh, I know where I'm at. Oh shit, okay. What am I doing right now? Because I feel my body moving, and like my mind was completely out of it. I feel my body moving, but I'm like, what am I doing right now? Then I realized that I was having sex, and it was feeling really, really good. Oh shit, I'm fucking right now. Okay. God, this felt good. What the fuck? And I was like, well, I'm not fucking right now. And then I heard him moan, and I was like, I know who this is. We're good. It's all I know. We're all right. Like,
I love that. That's amazing.
If you've never, blacked out or been choked out, because that's what it was. You've never been choked out. Like you just don't, like, you lose it. And at that point I had been drinking. And at that point it's like probably like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It was late. We were tired. It was a lot. And so, yeah, but it was fun. I like it.
I was watching and I'm like, this story is incredible.
People love that. I was like, oh wow, that wasn't even the first time I've been choked out. I got stories.
Come on, choke outs. What is one of your, because I've been trying to like really hone in on this for myself. What is one of your current sexual fantasies that are unfulfilled for fantasies?
Unfulfilled fantasy. Unfulfilled fantasy. I would love a gangbang. That is something that I want to do. That is something that I want to arrange for myself. But I want my gangbang to be people that I have hand selected to be a part of my gangbang. I want them to be people that I have played with in the past partners of mine, people that I've played with in passing, because I want it to be the vibe that I need it to be. A lot of times gangbangs can be really like, what's the word I want to use? They can be really, I don't want to say they can because I've never participated in one, but they seem, a lot of times they seem very like demeaning. And I don't want mine to be like that. I want my gangbang to be the people that are going to be there to be people who genuinely give a fuck about my orgasm, that genuinely give a fuck about my pleasure and making this experience the experience that I want it to be. I want it to be people that love and care about me, in my gangbang. So that is something that I would like to have, because I like a lot of sex. I like a lot of sex. And I want there to be a room of 5 men who want to satisfy every part of my body from top to bottom, and flipped and reversed and flip-flopped and tag teamed. And I want all of that.
It's funny. I just had a guest who had her first gangbang at 42. So
yes,
she had 5 dicks in the room and worked it on out. And it was so funny because for me, one of my unfulfilled sexual fantasies is a threesome with 2 men. And the one thing that has always been and she said something to me that has stuck with me. So whenever that happens, it's going to be right here. Because I said it would always seem daunting to have to juggle 2 dicks, right? Like, and she's like, no, as you're shaking your head. She's like, no, make it about you. They're there for you.
I was about to say, they're juggling you. You're not juggling anything. Your role is to be there and to be open and to, be there and be open and be receiving. They are taking care of you. They are catering to you and creating that experience for you in that situation. It's not juggling 2 dicks.
That's what she said. She's like, make it center your pleasure and it will not be a daunting task at all. And you'll have a lot of fun, because it was very interesting to me, the backlash that AJ Johnson got for revealing that her 50th birthday gift to herself was a threesome with 2 men. And she was saying it was one of the best things she ever did. Like, it was for her 50th birthday.
Threesomes, group sex in general is the bomb. Threesomes are amazing. Fucking couple swap situations are fucking phenomenal. Like, I was just talking about this on Twitter. I think I like group sex. I like group sex more than I like one-on-one sex.
Why?
Because even when I'm not participating, there's still something to watch. I'm still being, aroused and turned on. A lot of times when I'm in threesome situations, something's going to happen that I haven't experienced before. And I one of my kinks is exploration. I love trying different things. I love having new experiences. And so in a threesome situation, you end up in positions, you do things, you see an opening, you're like, well, I want to put my mouth right there. I want to be unfit.
Oh, that's right.
This happened. Like there are things that just happen and you've kind of fit yourself into the puzzle somehow. And it's in a way that you didn't think that you would be able to before. And so it's always fun. It's just always a really, really good time.
Now, that's an interesting perspective to say it like that, because Well, I'm gonna ask you this first before I finish. Do you prefer threesomes of two men or threesomes of two women? Or you don't have a preference?
I definitely prefer a threesome with two men. Because I as much as I do love and enjoy women, I prefer to play with women on a one-on-one basis as opposed to with a man in the room, because I never want to feel like it to feel like we are doing like the women are doing things to satisfy or to make the threesome about the man. I don't know. Like, I would much rather it just be in a threesome situation. I would much rather it just be about me. And I love having my face and my pussy fucked at the same time. So
I'm on face and pussy fucking.
That's a really good feeling. You're in between. You're just like a seesaw. It's
a
like
seesaw. I love the analogy. I see it.
It's so good. It's so good.
A seesaw. My brain. It's a thought bubble there.
It's good. It's great.
So, what is the perfect dick to you?
The perfect dick to me, I'm not a length girl. I am definitely a thickness girl. I have learned recently that I like a good stretch, a nice.
You like thick, a good girthy dick?
Nice, thick, meaty, heavy. I want that shit to thud when it smacked me on my forehead. Like I want heavy, meaty. I want to be like, oh my God, you need some help lifting that? That's the type of dicks that I like. So a nice thick one, it ain't even gotta be long. If it's a good 6 inches, I'll be happy with a good 6-inch thick daddy. I wanna have to like look at that shit like it's a fucking burger when I wanna fucking suck it. I want it to be huge. I want my mouth, but not so big that it's so big that I can't get my mouth around it, because then I feel inadequate and I don't like that. But when it's
it is something to feeling full.
Yes, that stretch.
It is something to feeling full. I don't know what it is, but I am with you.
It's so good. I used to be like, long dicks, long, big, long dicks.
Now here's the thing, though. I am sometimes a size queen. Because I think I had it in life where I think I had my perfect dick. And I'm glad that I got to experience it for a good amount of time. We had a lot of bomb sex with it, but it had length and it had girth. And it had, to me, my listeners know I like the Snicker bar vein down the top. That is the hallmark chef kiss of a good dick to me. And I just like pretty dicks. And this was like one, it filled me up. It was just enough in your mouth where it hurt right here in the crease, but it wasn't unattainable. You gagged on it a couple times. Like that was a good dick. And so it's always interesting to me because some people, like, I was so shocked. One person on the pod said that they liked, like, not pencil, but not, and I had never heard someone say that, but we all like different things.
But I think it's also what you experience, because I mean, literally, I used to be intimidated by big dicks, long and or thick. I was intimidated by big dicks. I just was like, I can't do that. That's gonna hurt me. I can't take that. And then I got my first thick one, and I was like, oh, that's what
that's what it feels like.
Let me try that again. And then I had one that was abnormally thick that I had to ask him, like, can you wear condoms? Like, before we get to this, let's talk about this. Do they make condoms for your dick? Because this is not.
Damn.
No, literally. I asked him, I said, do they make condoms for your dick? Because this is not normal. And I'm not joking, but like, let's talk about it. And he said they do. There's one company that makes condoms for like extremely large penises.
They do. And it's one condom company too. And I've tested it out. One condoms, they have 50 different size condoms. Yes, it was
the one condom. They have one called like the Black Magna. So I can't remember what it was, but they made a really big one. And he said that's what he has to use.
Yeah, but really, okay, sis.
That's the one. That is the one dick that I've ever had that I wanted so bad and could never get again. And so
Oh, that's always so frustrating. I had a good dick once that I only got to sit on one time, and I think about it often.
I think about this nigga every day.
Like, what is he doing right now?
He be liking my post. Don't like my post. Don't like my shit.
I'll pull up. Don't do it.
Don't play with me. Don't say what you want me to beg because I will.
That is that is one of the worst things too. And I always replay the whole scenario with him in my mind. Like, how did I only get to sample this one fucking time? Like, what happened? that was all God said I could get.
I have done the same thing. I'm like, did I say something wrong? Did I do so? Like, what happened? We actually that night, that was such a good night. Oh my God, we fucked twice that night. And then he had to leave. It was like late. It was like 4:00 in the morning. He had to leave. And he gave me his number. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get this again. I can't wait till my friends try it. I was excited. I was so excited. And then he stopped texting back. And I was like, so we're not going to do this again. We were just having a conversation about how as a woman, your pussy don't really slap till you turn 30. When we were having that conversation, I was like, how old are you? He was like, I'm 45. I was like, okay.
Oh, and he was old. I love an old nigga.
He was like 45. I was like, ooh. And I looked at him. He was like, I ain't even gonna ask how old you are. He was like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 27. This was last summer, 27. He was like, oh, I was like, but it ain't gonna get good. It ain't gonna get real good till I'm 30. He was like, damn, I want this when you turn 30. Talking all that talk, nigga. But 3 days later, now you're not texting me back. Why you doing that?
Did he? Oh, you said he's in your DMs. I was like, did he die? But
he did not die. I found out that he was somebody important. So I think that might have something to do with it. Yeah, I found out he was somebody politically important.
Oh, I don't think I had no political dick, but I know them niggas be freaks. So
all I know is that dick was large, large. And when a nigga tell me you could do anything you want to me, oh, I'm in. I'm in.
Because you don't hear those words often.
But when I do, I'm gonna take advantage.
I know that's right.
I love that.
Before we wrap up, in the news this week, and this is bothering me, and just because you happen to be this week's guest, we're going to talk about it really quick. There's been this resurgence about fucking body count. And I am literally stunned that people still ask this question, because I'm stunned that you would expect an honest answer. Because for some people, they've stopped counting. I mean, and at the end of the day, does it really fucking matter? Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. I honestly, that's every time the conversation comes up, I used to entertain it every time it came up. And then it didn't come up. It had to come up for a while, but Lil Durk did his interview or whatever, and it came back up. And I was like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to leave it alone. But then I kept seeing it coming up. And the thing that it didn't even bother me that the men were talking about it, because men are going to say whatever the fuck they want to say. What men like to do is they like to talk about women so that we devalue ourselves, and the idea is once they devalue us, they can get us by doing less.
Yes.
They feel like your value is less, so then they have to do less to get you. Like, no. But I don't care what they say. What they say is what they say, and I don't give a shit. The problem that I had when this conversation came back up was the response from a lot of women doing this. Well, why we talk about body count, but I only got 5 bodies. Like, doing this pick-me-ass bullshit. I cannot stand a pick-me-ass bitch. I expect men to be men. I don't think that they're that smart, if I'm being 100% honest. I really don't think they're that smart. But when a woman is doing that pick me bullshit, you want to be picked, you want to be a pick me, you want to be chosen by somebody who's not even smart enough to know what options they have. Like, what is this? Why? That conversation bothered me this time. It was the women that really bothered me this time.
Yeah, the level of pick me that came out, good God.
It was jumping.
Because it was like, at the end of the day, to your point, you're saying all of this, but you internalize what he said. And so it was like, I got to prove my worth. So someone will pick me. It's only 5.
It don't matter, but I mean, because they do a little bit, I'm just like, that shit is so fucking good. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? What does it change?
Because I would go on a whole sermon because these niggas be out here fucking this bitch, that bitch, and still can't fuck. So it don't matter.
Literally, what does it matter? Personally, I prefer that my partners are people who are sexually experienced because, again, I like exploration. I like, put me onto a position I have never tried before. Put me onto something I have never seen before. Show me something that I don't know. I know a lot. I've done a lot. Put me onto some shit that I don't know. When somebody can show me something that I've never heard of, seen, done, try, that is the weight of my heart. Show me some shit.
Let me tell you, this guy, tell me on some shit you ain't never done. It's a new position is always interesting. I feel like with me, I'm a big girl. I got a big ass. So niggas always want to do dark. Like that is like, because the visual, I get it, y'all visual creatures. I get it. So I had this one guy. So he's like, I got a finishing move we're going to try.
Finisher. Ooh.
Okay. So if you're listening to this, sorry, you might not get it. But if you're watching on Patreon, you're getting the visual. So I'm like this is my head, shoulders are like this, but my legs are bent like this a little bit. Like you're almost like a 6 almost. Mm-hmm. And his feet are on the ground. So I'm like this.
By your head.
His feet are on the ground by my head, but his butt is like touching my butt. So he bent his dick into my pussy and he was like squatting, like stroking his dick in my pussy while I'm bent like this. The way I nutted all over that dick.
That sounds fire. Hold up. I need to see what this one is called.
I went and found a picture of it because I was trying to explain it to someone else. I will send you the picture. I'll DM it to you. But like, goddamn.
That sounds fire.
So I enjoyed my interactions with him because I was like, we're going to do that finish. Like, I was like a crackhead, like, we're going to do that finisher again.
That's the thing that you did last time.
Yeah. So I'm with you. The new shit, open for new things.
I like that shit.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And then somebody who's a little bit slutty is going to be willing to do something a little weird sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck wants to do missionary? Everybody wants to do missionary and doggy all the time. You ain't got nothing else in your repertoire.
So I don't know. A few people had judged me because I never liked missionary. Like I never wanted to do it. I never liked it. You know, fold me like a pretzel, all that. Like I'm down for all that. And so someone recently that I had started fucking, like on one of my pandemic fuck buddies, was really into slow strokes, eye contact, you know. And so I'm like, man, you're not going to turn me over. Like the first time we had to, I was just like, and then one day it just like, I don't know, he had set the mood a little different this time. And I was like, oh shit, this is some nasty shit. Like it's missionary, it's slow strokes, you talking me through an orgasm, it's in my ear. Like, so I've come to have now an appreciation for it. Whereas before I was never like, all right, nigga, like, let's do something else. But now, yeah, I do have an appreciation for it.
You feel every bit. You feel that part of the dick where the head meets the shaft. You feel all, and it just be gushing around it. Oh my God. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I was like, so now that I'm on the scoreboard with that, because before that never registered for me, but now we're on the scoreboard. So
and there's nothing wrong with missionary and doggy, but if that's the only things that you can do because you haven't tried anything else, like this is the opportunity to try something.
Just try it with somebody. So that is your Boonie breakdown homework of the week. It's to try a new sex position with whoever you fucking, with somebody new you fucking, but try a new sex position this week.
Absolutely.
All right. We're good at the breakdown. I'm going to say a word. You say the first thing that comes to mind. It could be a sound. It could be a phrase. It could be anything. All right. First one is always easy and standard. Black women.
Beautiful.
Whips.
Dungeon.
Dick.
Thick.
Butt plugs.
I don't know why my mind went to fisting. I've been talking about anal fisting lately.
Fisting. Choking.
Blackout.
Squirting.
Puppy pad.
And pin. And last one, a dominatrix.
Ooh, dungeon.
So it was your tweet I saw. Because you said puppy pad. The visual came. It was your tweet because it was like the sheet on the bed. I referenced the towel down. I never thought about a puppy pad.
Puppy pads, put you on game. Puppy pads will save your bed. If you are a squirter, puppy pads will save you from putting a fucking towel down because the towel does nothing. You squirt. If you are a squirter, it is going through that towel. There's still a wet spot on the bed, and now you just have a soggy, squirty towel, and now you want to do laundry. If you wasn't drinking water, it might smell like piss. Like, you got a whole situation going. Puppy pads. You put them down. Yes. Sometimes you put 2 down. Sometimes you put 3 down. Depends on your activity. And when you're done, you ball it up and you throw it in the garbage. The mattress is dry.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've never thought about this. Period, sex, all this shit. Oh my God.
Glad has black puppy pads. So the white and blue ones to me are ugly. They look like a hospital. They look surgical. They're ugly. But Glad has black ones. Black puppy pads.
This is the biggest gem I think that has ever been dropped on the Boonie Breakdown. Okay. Puppy pads for the squirt. Oh my God. Majestyyy, this is great. If you could tell everyone where they can follow you on the internet, social media, anything new you have coming up, just plug it away.
So you guys can find me at the Funsexual, TheFunsexual on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also look up the Funsexual podcast. You can find me on YouTube. I am on Apple. I am on Spotify. I am on Google and some other places. But if you go to my Instagram, you'll find a link in bio. And y'all can be looking forward to some events. I am hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, going to be throwing something in the DMV upcoming. So that is something that y'all can look out for.
Wonderful. So I will be sure to link that in the show notes and on the booniebreakdown.com. So Majestyyy, thank you so much because you dropped gems today. You dropped like 3 or 4 gems today. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Who had been saying that? Who said that?
All right. It has been a little minute, but we have a Boonies confession for this episode. If you're unfamiliar, Boonies confession, people sending in to me their little ratchet stories or whatever the fuck they need to get off their chest anonymous. Think of it like confession in church, but ratchet style. All right. And so this week's confession says sex on the subway train, big eyes emoji. I was on the 1 train going uptown to the last stop, Van Cortlandt Park, in the BX, in the last car. I sat on his lap, held onto the pole, and rode. We got off the train and did it again in the park. Good times. Tongue out emoji. All right, you better ride that dick on the subway train. Now, I do have a question because we didn't say what time of day. So I'm assuming it was at night because you also know y'all gotta be careful. You gotta be careful fucking in parks because if there is a jungle gym in the park, then it's considered a child's park. And if you get caught, you're on the sex registry list. So this is a confession and a freak educational tip all in one. Do not have sex in where there's a children's jungle gym. If you get caught, you are on the sex registry list. All right. But to our confession today, the ratchet in me always honors the motherfucking ratchet in you. Namaste. All right, guys, I want to thank our guest, Majestyyy, the Funsexual, for joining us this week. I told you that the episode was going to be good. It was going to be educational, and she dropped gems and gave you tips on how to enter this space, all right? She was not a sex educator. She's a sex enthusiast. So these are real life tips. I mean, the panties as the head wrap band. Where else would you learn those tips but the Boonie Breakdown? All right. So again, thank you to Majestyyy. Also be sure to support our sponsor, Dame Products. You can use the code Boonie10. That's Boonie, all caps 10 to save 10% on your purchase at Dame.com. All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or any apps that you listen to your favorites on. Don't forget to leave those 5-star reviews. You might just hear your review on the next episode. Follow us on all social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make these pretty images for nothing, okay? Have a dope ass week. Stay healthy, safe, and sane. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Namaste. Until next time.